What's up, y'all? This is the Thug Lord Tupac. Be sure to check out Westside Radio.
Welcome to it, y'all. It's Julio G. Once again, Westside Radio. And listen, man, this is just super legendary today. I'm going to get right to the point. Cole 187, Big Hutch, Above the Law, in the house. Thank you for coming, Hutch.
Thanks, G. What's up, man? What's up, fam?
It's good to see you.
You know, I had to come back and hang out with my brother for
I
another
appreciate
month.
it. And it's crazy you say that because I want people to know that we're friends. Like, we're
Absolutely.
actually, like, it's outside of
We
music.
grew up together.
We came up together.
Yeah, we were kids.
Yeah,
we grew
man.
up together in this. Yeah.
KMG, too, rest in peace,
Rest in
is a
peace,
friend. Yeah, good friend of mine. Good smoking buddy.
Laylaw.
Laylaw, too, yeah.
Gomac.
Gomac.
Yeah.
Damn.
Shout out to DJ Chaos and Kokane.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
So
It's good to
that's
see
our
you, though.
family.
It's good to see you,
brother.
man. Yeah, for sure, man. And I know you're working on a lot of different projects, so we're going to get into a little bit of all that. But like I said, it's been a minute since we've seen each other. You know, it's one of those things where it's like on the radio, it's different to be able to interview, and then now doing it in a podcast form.
Westside Radio a lot,
yeah, podcast form is a little bit better for me because I don't have to worry about commercials and all that kind of stuff. So
go.
today I'm going to ask you stuff that I wasn't able to ask you, so, you know, because we've been on the radio many times. But I always start off the interview asking people the name, how you came up with that name. And I want to say, at the time, that had to be one of the coldest names at that time when it came out, because I'll never forget when I seen Cole 187, and I was like, damn, that's a hard-ass name. But where did that come from, Hutch?
DJ Chaos. Okay, I used to battle a lot when I was younger, and I was hustling. We was in the streets. So we always like to have, you know, we went out of the B-boy stage, remember, in the early 80s, into the D-boy stage, because we started hustling when we got out of high school, like heavy, like late, like maybe like 10th, 11th grade, we started hustling.
In Pomona.
Yeah, in Pomona. So when I used to do battles and stuff like that, as I got into the game, I was like, I want to change my name because I'm more in the streets heavy, right? You know, I didn't want to like a rapper name like that. So he was like, he said, you battle a lot, you know what I mean? And to me, you be killing them fools off, like you be murdering them fools. It was like, what about Code 187?
Yeah.
So CODE 187. And I was like, no, let's put cold on it. Like a cold murderer.
Yeah, cold.
And what people don't understand is the don't mean anything. It just makes you say 7. Okay. Like, remember how we used to say 7 back in the day? 7-11.
Yeah.
You know, so it's called 187.
Wow. And where did the name, because another great name you have is Above the Law.
Right. Yeah.
That's it stood out so much at the time because, like I said, this is the time when our West Coast was developing.
Absolutely.
So you coming out of like, you know, Ruthless, and then you on Ruthless, but then now you come with this name Above the Law. Where did that come from?
Well, that collectively came from all of us, me, KMG, and DJ Chaos.
Okay.
At the time, we were called Hustlers Beyond Control. That's when everybody had the click names and everything back then. And then we just said, well, we want a general name. We don't want people to try to decode our name like the Da Vinci or something. Yeah. So we just said, let's since we're in the streets and we playing above the law, when we do our music, we want to feel like we're above everybody else. Like we make our own rules. We don't follow the main rules in the music industry. We above the law.
Wow.
You know, of what everybody is doing
bro.
in the
That's
game.
so hard.
Yeah.
And that had nothing to do with the movie or nothing, because then the movie came later. Or was it later that the movie came?
No, it's around the same time. But it might have inspired us, but it didn't have anything to do with like
the actual,
being the law.
Okay.
Like it just really like we abide by our own rule to say like, oh, we don't follow no rules. We do funk, we do classical, we do but it's still hip hop and gangster. Right. But it's our own way. Right. You know.
Well, where does KMG come into the picture? He was originally from Pomona too?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So we all grew up together. Like, yeah, we were brothers more than, you know, because we've known each other.
So
all
before
of us all of us collectively have known each other since we played Little League Baseball, basically.
Oh, so you guys go way back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like middle school, elementary school, all of that, all the way up to high school.
But you started on your own, though. You were like rapping on your own.
Oh, yeah.
When did the group come into the idea of the group Above the Law?
In high school, you know, me and DJ Chaos and our other friend Sam, we used to just battle, like just, you know, like he was a DJ. We would just go around battling fools. Didn't really have nothing established in Pomona. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you know, we'll hit the college, you know, like we'll hit the college circuit, like, cause they had a lot of battles on college campuses and stuff like that. And we'll go to like little house parties and rip and all that kind of stuff. But we really hadn't formed Above the Law. Just kind of play with it, you know. So we had a little group that we formed in high school called the Wizards of Rock. Okay. But it was just us individuals, right? Now, KMG used to be a DJ.
Oh, okay.
As well. He wasn't rapping yet at this time. He was DJing.
Okay.
So after we kind of like broke off, like when we graduated from high school, everybody started hustling, doing their thing. We kind of just started like finding our own way. Like you said, I was off doing my own thing. Then me and Chaos came back together, and he was like, man, remember a cat, you know, used to DJ with me, KMG, Kev? I was like, yeah, I remember Kev. He rapping now. So then we collaborated and started forming Above the Law from there.
Wow.
You know, so originally we hadn't even rapped yet. We just was friends.
So there was a scene in Pomona then, like somewhat of a scene.
Yeah, yeah, because you had Grand Central Station,
right,
which was the teenage club,
right,
and only teenage club because people used to come from LA. Go to Grand Central Station because it was the only under 18 club you could go to. So the hip hop scene was real heavy because everybody would come out there. And you had, remember, Uncle Jam's Army used to do LA County Fairgrounds, and they used to do the LA Sports.
That's right. That's right.
So that was the scene. You came out there because that's where you could only really get a lot of hip hop is through that circuit.
Through that circuit, yeah.
Either through the under 18 clubs or like when you go to Uncle Jam's Army, you know, that's where you got all the hip hop from. And it would come out there to us. So yeah, it was a scene created.
Did Above the Law get signed because of a demo, or did Eazy-E
it was a demo.
It was so he heard a demo of yours.
Yeah.
How did he hear a demo from you guys?
Okay, it's funny when we talk about hustling, right? We was hustling at the time, and the cat was hustling with us was Gomac. He's our childhood friend as well, but he knew my cousin Dooley, which is like a brother to me, and his brother. His brother used to run with Gomac, and he used to hustle up under Laylaw and them on the streets. Okay. So what they did, they took the demo, because we was doing like street tapes at that time, like just deep boy tapes. Like
as Above the Law already?
No, we was called HBC. Okay. We hadn't established the name yet.
Okay.
So we was just doing like little mixtapes, and then we finally formed the mixtape, the Livin Like Hustlers mixtape. The Livin Like Hustlers demo, which the Ball and Ranch boys, which were Gomac, AKE, they took our tape to Laylaw, and it was Livin Like Hustlers on that. It was Murder Rap on it. It was like 7 songs off the actual album that you heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you had Murder Rap?
Yeah, we had all those records. We had only records we didn't have Freedom of Speech and the last song.
The last song.
And I think me and Dre went and did Kicking Lyrics.
Okay.
As a filler record, because we needed another record. So, but I already had the beats. I already had it. All the shit came out of my crate.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because we were already produced when I came to Ruthless.
What made you produce, Hutch? Like, what made you from rap, like, want to start making beats? Because that's a big responsibility.
Well, first I'm a musician.
Okay.
So I was a
So you naturally already came in music. Yeah.
I already was a musician in high school.
So from the gate, you were just producing yourself.
I played trumpet since I was 9 years old. Then I integrated and my dad taught me how to play piano. My dad is a composer from Motown, Richard Hutch. And my uncle's Willie Hutch.
Willie Hutch, yeah.
So I'm from that, lineage. So, in my house it was music.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm saying when you started, you didn't look for a beat from somebody. You just created your first beat on your own.
Did.
Wow,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, because when we were going to studios, we went to the bigger studios, like the studios that were good enough to make a demo, and people take you serious. So, instead of people like kind of bumping our head, I just learned all the shit and did the demos.
Doing it, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, so we would save money. It's like, okay, put Hutch on the board. Put Hutch, you know what I'm saying? Since he's the only one that's really versed in music and know about it, put him on the boards. Put him on the, so kind of by default, because I never wanted to actually be like the guy doing it all.
Right. Because it's a big responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
It's big.
And my boys, you know what I'm saying? I gotta go hard for the team. Yeah. And I still gotta bust a verse or two.
Yeah, no, for sure. And,
what I'm saying?
When did Eazy-E approach you and say, hey,
okay, so what happened was what happened was they had a little spot that they all hang out at, right? Like a little trap spot. Law came by and heard them playing the tape. Immediately took it out. This is the early days in Ruthless. It's probably like when they had just finished Straight Outta Compton. And he was like, man, we looking for something. And he heard the tape at the little spot and was like, give me that. I'm gonna go let Eric hear this. Eric heard it. He said, hey man, we about to go on tour, but tell them dudes we gonna sign them. That's the hardest.
Okay.
So we end up having a meeting with him, Dre, and Law, and they all agreed, like, yeah, when we come back, we gonna sign you up. So hold y'all hat. But they knew we was in the streets heavy.
Yeah.
So by the time they got heavy on that Straight Outta Compton tour, Eazy called us because Law heard that we was going wild on the streets, and E called us and he was like, hey man, y'all need to cut that shit out. I'm trying to sign y'all. Y'all out there wilding, hustling, banging, going crazy. You know what I mean? And I can't sign no motherfuckers that's going to the penitentiary are going to be dead. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, let me know what it really looked like. So he sent us out. He had us come out to see the tour. He was like, come and see this real money, little. Like you crazy.
We really doing
Yeah,
this.
we really doing it. Like, you know what I mean?
Next,
You on that dope boy shit. He said, I'm telling you, it ain't gonna get you nowhere.
Right.
So we go out. And from there, it was just been like, oh, man, yeah, that's what we gonna do.
This is what we want to do.
This is real. And that's when it kind of, because you got to realize when we first met him, I won't say it was at the embryo stages, because it's even before the DLC came out. The only thing is out is probably JJ Fad, the early Posse record, and then Straight Outta Compton, and then Eazy Does It. All those things seem to drop like simultaneously, right? Yeah. But we still was like, okay, they can make it. And you got to realize it's 88, 89.
Yeah. This is
We're like, man, we hustling, man. We making so many thousands a day right in our hands versus like a pipe dream of hip hop.
Yeah. I want to ask you about Livin Like Hustlers. That to me is a classic album. I mean, your first three are straight classics.
Yeah, Black Mafia Life
street,
and Uncle
street. When I say classics, I mean on a street level classics.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, because you didn't make radio records.
You didn't make pop records.
Yeah, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. But some of your records did get on the radio eventually, like stuff that I would play. You know what I mean? But you still had those kind of songs. But it was really more street driven. But I remember the first time. I'm gonna tell you the first time I heard Livin Like Hustlers, I was super impressed by it.
Right.
I was like, damn, Eazy-E got another group. You know what I mean? Yeah. But what I loved about it, first off, it just came in. That's what I wanted to ask you. It just comes in, no intro. It comes in, now I got a murder rap. Yeah. It made it so hard because everybody was doing intros and stuff at the time, and you just came in, now I got a murder rap. And then it was 10 songs long. So it was like at that time, like I think you were ahead of your time with that because you made it so like 10 songs. So you got to the point, and it was just, by the time it ended, you're like, at that last song with NWA, you're just like, damn, this is hard. It made you listen to it again, you know what I mean? But was that thought out, Hutch? The 10 song thing?
I think me and Dre, you know, thought like we want to keep it simple and we want to get right to the point. Okay. We already felt, because, you know, they didn't really want to call us ATL, even though people started calling us ATL, because they wanted to call us, you know, we wanted to be just above the law. And he was like, you know, him and E and Law was like, everything we gonna do is we gonna smash him in the face with y'all. It ain't really, we're not gonna waste a whole bunch of time and play around, you know what I mean? Because it's aggressive, you know, and it's more like next level to like young people, like what we was talking about, basically the way we were talking about being untouchable, living like hustlers, murder rap, and you know, all those hidden messages. Because, you know, we had to kind of hide it back then. Remember? You know, Another Execution. We had records like that were really, really like right there to the edge. So, and he just said, hey, let's just make, because it was more records that we had to cut off the records, and they were just like, okay, just make it short and simple and straight to the point and tight. You know what I mean?
Another thing, Hutch, I want to ask you is like,
and I think it made you guys as the listeners want to listen to the record again.
That's what made me do it. Right. It made me go back to the top. When it ended, I'm like, oh, that's it. It made me start. And then, like I said, because it comes on the top, now I got a murder rap. So you like kind of right back into like
caught up,
listening to it again. And I'm like, the first like 3 or 4 songs that come in, it's like murder rap, Untouchable, and then Livin Like Hustlers. It was like, damn, this,
and it's
this
crazy,
is crazy
because that's the sequence of the demo. I think we might have had a couple more records in between, but that was the sequence of it. Like already, it was always murder rap first. That's what got him.
So there's a couple of things I want to ask you that I was curious about. I remember hearing you guys said South Central in that record, but you also said Pomona.
Absolutely.
So what was that, Hutch? Why?
Because you got to realize half of us, you know, like Go-Mac, all the, you know, people that was incorporated in, half of them were from South Central.
Oh, that's
half
what it
of
was.
us from L.A. I mean, half of us from Pomona. So it's the L.A. Pomona connection. You know what I mean? Actually, and then how we used to hustle. We hustle with nothing but South Central cats.
Okay.
You know, I basically, our line was a South Central line.
Oh, so that's how
we always was connected like that.
Okay.
Our clique is half and half. Like our crew that hustle together is half South Central and is half Pomona.
Wow, that's what I was curious about when I would hear, because I did hear you say Pomona, so I never understood that.
Yeah, the cats that really put us on, they're South Central cats. Okay. You know, they put us on. So.
Another thing I noticed about you that is different is that you guys don't come in saying gangster this, gangster that. It was pimp, hustling, player. It was like this. And where did that come from? Is that a Pomona thing?
Yeah, I think it's the element, because we grew up hustling, really, you know, with a gangster element, you know, to a gangster element. You know, we didn't grow up. We would like to get money cats in the hood. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But we was in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Because Pomona's no fucking joke. That's right. That's straight up.
No. We were a part of, you know, that whole scene. Because in the 80s, I don't think you could have got around it. I think everybody was affected by the gang culture But in turn, like I think me, KMG, DJ Chaos, all of us collectively, when we lived out there, we was on getting some money. You know, we never was on like a gang banging type of thing. So we never spoke on that because really on the above the law tip, it's really about black enterprise and hustling in the streets. It's that. It was always that for us. It was more like Black Mafia for us. You know what helped us really a lot in that was Eazy. Eazy, when we came to the whole table, he was like, don't be caught up on that because you want everybody to buy your records. You don't want it to be like the Bloods don't like you, the Crips don't like you. You want to be kind of right in that area and speak to whatever they can relate to and what they're going through. Now, if you look at Pomona as a whole, you know, Pomona has a big pimp culture in that time frame. In the 70s and 80s, Hope Boulevard was the blade. The blade. It was the real blade, you know, back then. It's one of the biggest, most known blades in Cali. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So we grew up in that culture a lot. So we always talk about pimping, hustling, you know, because that's what we grew up in.
I wanted to ask you, when you worked with Eazy-E and like, you would have to turn in records so he could hear them or whatever, you know. How did that work? Did he ever like, would he just let you do your thing and say, this is what you want to put out, Hood? I believe in you and I got your back? Or did he ever tell you like, can't change the song, I don't like this? Or how did that work with Eazy?
I'll give you a story. When I first came, it was always pick my brain. Eazy was like, okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I don't know if it was a test or not, right? So when we laid out Livin Like Hustlers, he was like, okay, you really know what he's doing, right? By the time I got to Black Mafia Life, he'll be like, what you working on? I said, I'm working on this record, that record, this record. He said, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that shit. Just finish it. He just let me finish.
Hear the whole thing.
And that became his habit. He was like, I don't want to hear it because, you know, I'll get attached and then you'll flip it or something. He said, when you finish with it,
let me hear it.
Get with me.
Wow.
So that was me and his pattern. He would never come in and he would even never, it's funny, he wouldn't even never say like, where you at? He'll wait for me to call and be like, hey, come through.
I got something
for you.
Wow.
And I'll play a body of music. He'd be like, okay, all right.
Okay.
You finished? I'm like, nah, I got a couple more weeks. Motherfucker, call me when you finish.
Yeah, he wanted it done. Yeah, no, that's
got me licking my chops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he always was, you know, because what I loved about Eazy respected the fact, like, if you had talent, he knew how to like let you live in your own talent. He would always tell me like, man, you know, he was like, just do you. That was his biggest thing. Just do you. I don't have he said, hey, you know, my job is to find somebody who want to hear what the you doing. That's what I loved about him, man. He never tampered. He never said, no, this ain't this and no, that ain't that. He'll be like, he think this is better than this to him after he listened to it, but he'd get my whole picture.
Oh, he get
like it. When I did Uncle Sam's Curse, I told him what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a gangster political record. And he was like, what? He said, okay, go do it. I went and done it. And, you know, Eazy picked Black Superman.
Yeah.
I didn't even want Black Superman to be the first single.
I'm going to tell you a story about that too.
Yeah. He picked Black Superman. He said, the reason why I played him in the whole record, right? Then I just had mixed Black Superman. It was the last record I had. And then I got this record called Black Superman. I don't know where I'm going to put it at. Where I'm going to put it on the record. He said, but I'm telling you, this is a dope record. The concept is dope. He said, oh, that's a dope concept. So we're in there smoking. We're doing our thing. He said, play it. So I played it. And I already told him what the title of the album was going to be. Uncle Sam's Curse, gangster political record. And when I'm telling you, when the strings went down and the volume faded out, he said, that's your single. So me and KMG had kept like, hell no, man, it's going to be tripping. They ain't going to never play that. Wow. He was like, no. He said, listen, the record that I just heard y'all do in the body, that one record explains what's about to happen the whole album. Wow. And then I saw it. I was like, he's right. I said, that's what I said. Right. He has a point.
Yeah, he was right. I want to ask you, Hutch, coming out of Livin Like Hustlers, you go into Black, let me get back up. Okay. You go into Vocally Pimpin'. Yeah. What made you drop that 5-song EP, which is great too? I loved it.
Because it was I was transitioning into the G-Funk sound. Okay. So
that was the beginning of it in that record. Okay.
Yeah, I was transitioning into the G-Funk sound, and I wanted to give people like a sneak peek of where I was going as a producer. Because at that time, my training was off. I didn't have Dre anymore. Yeah. Like Dre was working on Focus for Life. I was working on Black Mafia Life. And I was fighting with him to get in the studio to work on Black Mafia Life with me. Okay. Right? And he was like, well, you know what you want to do. Let's find you a studio, him and Eazy, And law, they found me a studio. And then I started working on, actually it was Black Mafia Life I was starting to work on.
Okay.
And it was a transition in between going to Livin Like Hustlers to Black Mafia Life. So it was a window there. So I was like, let's do an EP. So we just did the EP, and that's when we started funking.
Is that where you introduced Kokane? Was it?
That's all that. That's when Kokane came into the fold. We had him already, but that's when we introduced him through our sound. And then he ended up getting his deal, and Who Am I came, and then he grew as an artist.
I want to ask you about Black Mafia. There's a couple things about that album. First off, it says Black Life Mafia when you look it up.
Oh, God.
And so I was wondering if that was because Black Mafia Life was just so strong of a thing at the time they made you guys change that, or was it always called Black Mafia Life?
Black Mafia Life. I mean, it's always been called Black Mafia Life. I think when they put it in, they maybe put it in.
Okay, cool. Because when I looked it up the other day, I was like, why did you say Black Life Mafia? I always looked at
and see, Black Mafia Life is a record that we done that was like, we wanted to do like I think we wanted to do something like for us. That was like, wasn't Italian, wasn't with the mafia thing to it. Because at the time, people didn't like unifying and enterprising with money. And that's the whole message behind Black Mafia Life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was a real thought process album as well. Because anytime we did, me collectively, like, Cam G was really a thinker. Chaos was more calculated, and I'm more like a gunner. You know what I mean? But I was the head of everything. So it was me to put the madness together. So me and him as the vocalist, and then we integrated Kokane in there just to create the whole ism of what people call G-Funk.
G-Funk, yeah. So that's what I want to ask you about. When I remember listening to that album, and you have some great songs on that record.
Oh, yeah.
But
SOP, Call It What You Want.
Call It What You Want.
Tupac's first, like into the
Get Down.
Yeah.
But you in that record, like, did you bring in the Moog in that record, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was a time where, honestly, Julio, I not probably have told you so on the original Westside Radio. I wanted to be a little different than what everybody was doing, like NWA and what people was doing out west at the time.
Yeah.
Because nobody was doing it. Nobody was slowing it down, putting singing on it, and, just having fun, doing chants, but still being hard.
Yeah.
So it was me breaking away from the boom bap, the metally sound, like everything sounded real hard and harsh and dark.
Yeah.
We already was kind of, we were funky on Livin Like Hustlers. It was a lot of hip hop boom bap.
Yeah.
Then it was some slow flow stuff. Then that was me being more West organic.
Yeah.
I wanted people to see through the music how the West looked.
Yeah.
And that's where VSOP came.
Yeah.
That's when Call It What You Want came. That's where all those records. That's why even if you look at For the Funk of It, it's the same way. That whole vocally pimping, that was me introducing that. But I think that's my whole objective as a young producer, was to give Above the Law signature sound.
Signature sound, yeah.
There you go.
I always liked the way you approached the Parliament Funkadelic thing in the records. You just didn't sample it and just use the loop. You played with it a lot, and the way you approached it, and it came in and out, and the way you would EQ it was like a unique sound to like what you were doing. And I was just doing a documentary the other day, and I was explaining to them, I was telling them that in our early time, that was like our gangster rap, was Parliament Funkadelic, Roger, Zap, One Way. There's just certain songs that went to the crippin' and the gangbanging.
Yeah, that's right.
It was before the rap stuff, so that's why a lot of the drums on the rap songs are very one way, very
the boom
Club
slap, it's
and
the
claps,
boom slap, it's the booms, the pop lock, it's the pop locking beats. It's you said, that's the real West culture. I would say. Yeah. Like I know it was heard everywhere, but that was kind of like our signature of how everything looked out here.
Yeah. As a producer, I got to tell you, VSOP is an incredible song, because I want to say that that's probably like one of the best intros that I've heard into a record, because the way you marry all these different samples,
Hall and Oates,
and the one way, you have a lot of things going on, but the way it's like a
Parliament, all that little stuff.
It's like you painted a beautiful
and it's
picture.
Live instrumentation over it.
Wow.
That's the difference. I think what people didn't realize what I was doing, I take a Parliament loop, I take a one-way loop, but I play chords over it. I'll play these different melodies against it. You know what I mean? To lock you in. You know, as a producer, like that. Like I would do things like that to you, because everybody was surviving. Everybody was either on breakbeat drums, and that's where they would live in, or a loop on top of it. Me, I would take a break, a loop, and I play on top of it. You know, like keyboards, a different line against the line that's playing, all of that. You know what I mean? That's just what madness in my head, just from being a musician. 1, 2 is like, okay, I wanted to make it our own. I didn't want,
and it gave you a sound. It was basically your sound. I want to ask you. We were talking about Uncle Sam's Curse album, another classic album. At the time, and you know, it's like. It's like a whole body of work, and that's another thing, Hutch. It's like I like the way you put albums together because like they're real street records. It's not easy to just record 13 songs. People think that just making I got 13 songs, so I got an album done. That has nothing to do with it. It's like what placement, where the songs go, if it fits, if it's not, what's the subject matter, what's the story. But you started off with this movie piece and then you end it with the movie. So it's like one big thing. But can you explain to me, because the cover is so crazy, the Uncle Sam's Curse cover. Explain to me what that was about, the whole album. What made you do that at that time?
Okay. You know, it's a 3-part question you asked me. The cover is basically the whole concept. The original name of the album was The Ghetto.
Okay.
Me, Cam G, we didn't really like, we wanted to name it something that explains the ghetto. So what we did, we just thought maybe about 2 or 3 days. And then we said, what about something that got to do with government and this and that, since it's a gangster political record. What about like, you know, Uncle Sam's, and then we like Uncle Sam something. Then we put the curse to it, which is the ghetto. That's Uncle Sam's Curse. And then the cover that we made was that if you look at it, it's the ghetto and the penitentiary, and then it's the suburbs around it, and over the ghetto is a cloud of Uncle Sam, like a monster over it.
And in the song, KMG says. He says, if you go to the mall and you're wearing blue, and you happen to run into like an enemy,
somebody staring at you,
staring at you, that's Uncle Sam's Curse. Yeah, it was really deep. That record was deep
because we, you know, and then now they'll go into the record. What we wanted to do was, you know, like in our era, it was all about like, if say for instance you look at a record like Dope Man, people knock a Dope Man record, but Dope Man is about it's another way of doing something gangster and saying, just say no.
Don't do this. Yeah.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah, you don't want to
just like Gangster was. So we learned from that skill set to say, okay, we're going to talk to our people, but we're going to talk to our people and tell them why you going through what you're going through. A cause, the effect, and solution in the record. We didn't want to just be like talking about gangbanging and not talk about why we, you know, because we talk about police brutality on there. Yeah. We talk about government politics and we talk about hood politics.
Yeah.
So that's what we came with the concept of Uncle Sam's Curse, the song.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to directly talk to our listeners from their eyes and then say, look at yourself.
Yeah. It's deep, that song.
You caught up in something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got some incredible songs. You got some incredible songs.
And as far as how we put it together, we learned all that from, like, I learned it from first working with Dre.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
put an album
be meticulous, you know, because I watched him do No One Could Do It Better. I was able to watch him do that whole record, basically.
Classic.
And then I studied Eazy Does It. I studied Straight Outta Compton. I studied all these things. So when I started doing records like Black Mafia Life, the same way, you know, the training was off, like I said. So by the time I got to Uncle Sam's Curse, I knew how to immaculately
make a classic
that record, how to place everything strategically, you know, everything, how stuff come in, go out, how to tell a story through the whole album, like you said, to take 13 songs and tell a story.
No, absolutely. You know? I want to tell you a story about that. We're at 92.3 The Beat one day with Eazy-E, and I forgot it. You know, we were having a meeting there or whatever. We were just about to start the Ruthless Radio Show, or maybe we had been doing it for a week or two.
Right.
And so we go outside. It was sunny that day. I'll never forget it. He had a white, I want to say it was a 64 Impala with sounds. It wasn't cut. He had these incredible sounds in the trunk. So it was a really beautiful lowrider he had. And he had brought it, and he was like, hey man, I want to play you Above the Law new song.
Ooh.
I'm like, okay.
Well, you play.
And so we go in, and you know, I'm on this side of the lowrider, like, you know, with the window, and I'm kind of like leaned in, like listening, and he's sitting right there at boom. He's like, and that shit comes on, Hutch, and the way it came in, bam, with the sounds that he had in that car, I was like, hey man, bro, when I tell you, before the words even came in, he gave me a look like it's over, man. Like, she don't even know what you want to hear right now, bro. And I remember me and Tony G was sitting there, we're like, we were blown away, bro. We really were blown away because it sounded so incredible in that sound system and the way you made it. It was such just a West Coast. It was just gutter, like it was just so nasty, that record, and it was such a dope record, like you said, dope concept. You know what I mean? That
Black Superman is a gumbo, man. I still to this day don't know why people love it so much.
So that was just a record you guys done. It wasn't like this is our record. You just like, hey, let's do a record. We're gonna do this.
We loved the concept more than we thought it would be like a smash.
Yeah.
To be honest, we thought California would be a bigger record.
It was a great record too.
We thought California would be a bigger record. You know what I mean? But when I look back at it and I listen to Black Superman, I see why people love it. It's very, very organic. It's one of the most like I didn't marinate over Black Superman a lot. It's one of those beats that when you do it, it's done. You know what I mean? I didn't have to.
It just kind of came together.
I had to milk that beat that much. It was what I laid. What you heard was probably like the first couple of nights I worked on it.
Wow.
And it's the last record we did.
It's crazy.
It's funny because it might not even have made the record if we didn't go to it and be like, because it was just a beat just frying in there, frying. When me and Jimbo, we came back and we put the talk box on it. We was on tour at the time and we came back on a break and me and him put the talk box part on it. You know, because it was just a cold beat with me and KMG busting.
And KMG just comes in like, what he says in there,
juice. It's like
a movie. Up in the deuce. And then for anybody that knows,
he's gonna make you see it. He's an illustrator. He's gonna make you see it, man.
It reminded me of people in my neighborhood at one time, but like, you know, when they used to get on the things, you know what I mean? So what he's basically explaining to you in that song is like the mindset of a gang member when he takes drugs like that and then he goes out on a mission and he's on one, like he's not all there. That's what made that record so crazy. I mean, his first verse was just really crazy, really crazy. And yours too, because your part of the story is great too, of like what you talk about your mom. And being a Black Superman. So incredible record. I want to ask you also about California. We talked about that a little bit. You did something in that record that I thought was so dope. It's your third verse comes in.
Flipped it.
And you flipped it. And Hutch, I just got to tell you, like, there's people that could try and do that, but it was something about the transition where it was kind of like chill in the beginning of it was dope. And then when it came into that third verse, the way you took it there, man, it's just incredible production to me.
Thank you.
How did that come about? What made you do it that way?
It's inspired by VSOP when I flipped the second half of VSOP.
Okay.
I always had a signature that, you know, like a producer has a signature. I didn't have that signature nowhere on the record yet. So I said, I'm going to put that flip the beat at some point on the record like I did on VSOP.
Okay.
So that became like I would signature.
Some you would do
that as a signature, as I flip the beat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I usually would depend on when I flip it. I usually would depend on the only thing different about California is that you figure in VSOP I kept the boom 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 boom. I still kept the one way and just put the boom 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 boom. So it still felt like it. California, I just dropped the whole Gigolos Get Lonely too. It just went to a whole like
thing.
You know, so it was totally different. You know what I mean? And I want the funk hard to come from a pretty beat to a dark beat. Because everything that I think we done on that record was a visual record.
Okay.
I think Uncle Sam's Curse was more visual than on any record we done. Now we've done like a lot of records that you could see, Killers in the Park, different records like that. But I think that record was more like, we wanted you to see everything. Like when you say KMG on I Hit the Loose, he wants you to see.
Yeah.
So everything we were saying, you know, so I flipped it and then I tell a story. I was first in the morning and I just came up. I had a titties drop to get the rims on my truck. You know, it's a story.
Yeah.
So it was dope. It suited to flip.
Yeah.
You know, like you going on another mission with us. You know, I mean, almost like a whole nother record.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I came up with it.
I love it. I love that. It's one of my favorites when it comes in, man.
I think when you sonically change things, it gives people like insight and they can see the music more sometimes. You know?
I also want to ask you on Uncle Sam's Curse, because you guys did some features, but you weren't a featurey group like that. What made you use Tone Loc and give Tone Loc, like, put him on that record? Because there was really no features on there but Kokane.
Yeah, exactly.
So why did that happen? Which I thought was dope, but I mean...
Loc was hanging out with us a lot when we were making a record.
Oh,
so he was hanging out with us
there.
a lot. Yeah, him, Law, they all were hanging out with us when we was making a record. So... We always wanted to do a record with because we kind of hung out with him, party. We all were in one circle back then. You remember how we used to kick it?
Yeah.
We didn't.
The West
none
Coast
of us
was
really
smaller
strayed away from each other. Like we all kind of hung out with each other, you know. So, that's how that came about. You know, just a lot of respect for Loke, and shout out to Tone Loke too as well. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the Westside Tribe. So, you know, they're our family. So we just, you know, we all was hanging out together, and we
just
was in
put
the
him
studio
on there, huh?
and just cut the record.
Yeah.
And just threw him on it.
I was wanting to know that, because I just seen pop up on there.
It wasn't as random as people think how it looks like. Oh, that seems kind of random.
Yeah.
He was around.
He was around you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we all hung out together a lot.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, Hutch, is that during that time, the Ruthless Death Row beef was like heavy. Oh, yeah. Heavy, bro. Because I used to hang around with Eazy-E. It was always like looking over each other's show. I was like always like on prepared mode, you know, because you never know what was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But I noticed that like you guys weren't really involved in that. Like, you didn't really get talked about. No, it would seem like you guys were just out of it, not involved in that way. And also, I have to say, even on No Vaseline, no mention of nothing above the law. Nothing like he stayed away from that. Like, people didn't mess with you guys.
I think that like, you know, one thing that I can commend E on, he told me to stay out of it. He told us to stay out of it. Basically, he was like, you know, you and Dre have a relationship. Y'all partners, y'all brothers. We all brothers. It's between me and him. Okay. Y'all don't have to be involved in that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's always was like that. You know, Snoop comes through us. So it's like Snoop, Warren, all them come through us. So we all was still.
Because you guys used to work together when you
absolutely, yeah. Snoop came to us first. Like, you know, Warren brought him to us first.
Okay.
So we were planning on signing him, but when the group broke up, when the label kind of like took a reset, he ended up going with Dre. And Dre came and hollered at me about that too. He was like, yeah, I'm trying to work with Snoop. Is that cool? Like, you know, you good? You're like, I don't want to step on no toe. I was like, man, dude's incredible, man. Yeah. Work with him.
Yeah.
I love him.
Was he dope to you back then? Like, when you first met with him, huh?
I mean, you know, I think the biggest hurdle with Snoop at that time, and only a person like Dre probably could have done it, I probably could have done it, was that he just had a lot going on. Like, far as like, he would freestyle for 10 minutes in a corner. You know what I mean? So
he didn't have song structured style.
Not yet. He hadn't established that yet.
Wow.
But he was an amazing rapper. Like, when he came, I was like, yeah, we definitely putting him on. You know, he had it. He had the it thing that I will say, like, with all these people, like, when I first, like, Kokane's my little cousin. I always knew he had the it thing. You know, Snoop came through Warren. I always knew he had the it thing. You know, when Pac came around, you could see it. You know, in our era, like, you either had it or you didn't.
Right.
You know, cats knew if you could bring it, you can, you know, so it's worth the money that they're spending.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like you could, you know, so if I vouched for him and he was in my presence and I was going to do something with him, Dre knew the same thing when he came around. He was like, yeah, he got something, you know.
Hutch, when was the first time when Kokane kind of went into that, like, I want to say like that George Clinton style of it, because I think it G-funked the sound in a sense. Yeah, so he's very instrumental in that.
Like when we did Who Am I, we did the Who Am I record, which was his first record with his group Who Am I, and they were afraid to call him Kokane when we were at Epic. We started tampering with, like, he had these characters, and I was like, man, if we really take the characters and just go all the way with the characters, will be like, it'll be a whole nother sound for hip hop, right?
Yeah.
So me and him, when we go in to work on the second record, you know, I just said, man, you know, just start doing the characters on the records. Do the Jamaican guy, do the George Clinton guy, do the, you know what I mean? And from there, I just created the ism of a Kokane. I named him, and all them little characters, I just figured out how to put lightning in a bottle. And then it just evolved from there, you know.
No, it's so classic. I want to ask you, you started to work at Death Row, and how did that come about? Like, how did that first conversation come? Because, you know, Suge Knight was not in a good spot at the time. He was locked up. He was locked up, and then, you know, he had a lot of stuff sitting on the table, basically, he needed to put together, I guess. And so, where did that conversation come, Hutch? Where was that beginning? Where it's like, hey, Hutch, do you want to come work with us?
Because you know, because when I stepped into the chair at Ruthless, you know, being E's right hand man, he knew that. He was like, okay, Hutch is there. He's like, you know, keeping stuff in order. And when he was there, he always know that they kind of deferred to me a lot when it was decisions being made at the label. Like, oh, who should we, or what do you think about this? Hutch, what do you think? They would run it by me, basically. Eric would always be run stuff by me. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool, that's cool. You know, my direction, he knew I was sound in that. So he was like, I need to get somebody over here that kind of know music
and puts projects
know
together.
Business, and know how to put products together and get people, in order musically, right? So he called me, the office called me, and they had him on the line. He sat down, we sat down, chopped it up, what he wanted me to do.
Because you knew each other already before?
Yeah, I knew him.
You knew him. He was around. Yeah, from Ruthless. So you guys did have a relationship. So he knew.
Here's the thing. When we broke away from doing our own thing, because Eazy was like, you should just manage above the law and just let law be the production company and then me be the label, right? Okay. So when I started doing it, I started having to be in the studio, the manager. So we hired Suge to manage us. At the time, he was managing the DOC. So we always had a relationship.
So you knew him, yeah.
At Ruthless.
Yeah.
When he first came to Ruthless, he was security. Then he started managing, and then.
So it wasn't that difficult for him to have a conversation with you.
No. He knew what I was doing.
What you do, yeah.
When I did at Ruthless, he was like, I need you to do what you was doing with Eazy. Just put things together.
What did you do there, Hutch? Because I know, you did Letters to My Unborn from Tupac. You did that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. That remix of that is so crazy.
I mixed the whole record.
Okay.
I mixed the whole.
What album was that? That was that's
Until the End.
Until the End of Time. Exactly.
I mixed that whole record.
Okay.
We were on Letter to My Unborn, but Quick produced that.
Oh, okay.
I mixed it.
Oh, okay.
I mixed the whole album.
Man, that record.
And I was a music supervisor on that. I did that, Dead Man Walking, Dog Pound 2000, and Too Gangster for the Radio.
Too Gangster for the Radio.
I was over those 4 records. The biggest record was the Pac record, though.
Yeah. What did you learn from Tupac, listening to the way he recorded his vocals and stuff? Because you have all the tracks now. The
most thing I tripped off Tupac, how, like when we do overdubs and everything, he would do so many overdubs, but everything, when you pulled it up, it all made sense. Little noises he make in the back, a little, it'd be a rough mix, but it'd be hard to mix. But everything he said in the back, a little talking, everything was like a jigsaw puzzle. Once you pulled it up and put it in its right perspective, it all made sense.
Wow.
But it would be hundreds, I'm going to say hundreds, but it would be a lot of tracks. Of
just background dubs, overdubs.
Talking, yeah. Oh, well, motherfucker.
And one thing I liked about Tupac is that they were sloppy. They weren't not sloppy in a bad way, but it's
organic.
Very organic. Very organic, the backgrounds. They feel very natural, like that one take, that first feeling.
There's purpose. What I liked about when I pulled this stuff up, it all had purpose. He never put nothing on tape that wasn't supposed to be on tape. You know what I mean? He didn't. That's what I mean. Like when I heard little fillers, a little this, and all of his lyrics was so, they were so intense.
Yeah.
Off the rip.
Absolutely.
Still to Until the End of Time was, and it's crazy because, when I do that record, you have to order the records in.
Yeah.
So I only could mix I only can order like
3
reels at a time to mix the records. Like because I had 3 studios running at the same time. So I'm in A, B, and C. They'll pull the records up. I say, lay up the mix. So I'm jumping because they only gave me 10 days to mix 25 songs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's and no choice.
Crazy work.
And nobody wanted to do it,
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. You figure everybody that was involved in it didn't want to deal with Death Row, but Edie and Pac's mom knew I was there and they knew I was running the show. So they was like, well, Hutch is going to have a passion for
they trust you on that,
what Pac is doing.
Yeah.
So they trust me to be at the head of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how that happened. I didn't have a bad experience at Death Row. I think that it was just at that transitional state where I think Suge was still stuck on what happened between him, Dre, and Snoop.
It's like
I really didn't want to be involved in that, So when he got home, I kind of went back to my regular focus.
What you were doing, yeah. I have to ask you about another classic record that you did, Hutch. You did a record for Brownside.
Oh, yeah.
With Eazy-E.
Oh, yeah, man.
That has to be
Eastside Drama.
Eastside Drama. Oh, my God, Hutch. Anybody watching right now, just look that up. Brownside, Eastside Drama, Rest in Peace, Danger also. Eazy-E's verse on there is probably one of the coldest, most gangster's verse. He just, how did that come about? And the reason I ask you, Hutch, is because when I met Toker, and I knew Toker, but when I got to work with Toker, he told me from the beginning, I'm not a rapper. Like,
for sure.
He told me that. Like, he was very specific about it. I never had somebody tell me, like, I'm not a rapper, homie. I'm a gangster trying to rap. So I took my patience. Like, I had like a different type of patience for him. because I knew he had a vision, and I just wanted to try to capture what he was trying. Because I knew he was serious about it. He meant everything he said, and he was serious about being an artist. But he was just very honest about that. But how did you end up getting that? You know, getting down with these because these are gang member Mexicans, right? This is real. Right. This is real gangster rap.
The funny thing about it is that, you know, E put us together. He was like, he like an SA version of you. Yeah. So when I met Toker, it was like that. It was like I met a Mexican version of myself, like a hell of a hustling dude. But he was just, you know, that's why me and him were kindred. You know what I mean? We always say, man, you my brother from another mother. Yeah. He was one of my closest friends, became one of my closest friends in the industry. Yeah. You know. How it came with Eastside Drama was more so me putting myself on him, what I thought his culture would love. You know, it had to bounce, it had to be old school, it had to be, I just slowed it down. Yeah. And just put my boards on top of it, and he loved it. He went crazy, you know what I mean? And it was a classic. I thought Eastside Drama would just be a record, like a hood banger, like it became a big record.
That's a straight, one of his biggest things, right? You know what I mean? Another thing, Hutch, that you guys have as above the law that's very special is that you have like a hardcore Mexican fan base. You know what I mean?
I will, you know, I think that if we were a 70s group, we probably would be Parliament Funkadelic or the Ohio Players or something like that. I think the music married us to the Spanish community. Yeah. I think the music, I think we were so funky and so fly and so, part, bro. You know what I mean? The soul, I think the soul sound, I think that's what it was. And all that, all the soul stuff we did. I think that's what it was, really. I think the essence of the music. It's funny you say that because when we were coming up, that's all we would see in Cali really bumping our shit. Yeah, yeah. Was baskets. We would only see, they were like, damn. They bumping VSOP. You know, people call it, hey man, dude came through swinging in the deuce, bumping y'all shit. Yeah,
for real. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, y'all shit just the bump of the car.
You know what was that say? He was he was in the lowrider.
Hutch, I want to ask you, how did you end up on Compton? On the Compton album with DR.DRE, because that kind of surprised me because I didn't know where you guys were. I don't know if you guys were in a good space or not. I was like, when I seen you pop up on there, I'm like, oh, they must be good.
Yeah, I mean, first, like I never, you know, me and Dre always been cool. We we like brothers, so we never.
You never had no issues or nothing.
No issues, no, for real, like no issues. To this day, I talk to Dre once a week.
Well, I thought it was cool when you popped up on there, but how did that come about?
See, when they did Straight Outta Compton, I wasn't even tripping. I just kind of showed up. The movie was being done. He was like, oh, I'm in the studio. So I dipped to the studio and I was just in that vibe and listening to some records. And he was like, you want to get on something? He said, let's find something. And that night we came up with that record, you know what I'm saying? And we put Exhibit on later. Wow. You know what I mean? Me and him that first night when the movie had wrapped, we went in the studio and just came up with it. Then we went to the house in Malibu and finished it up. Yeah. And that's how it was, just real organic. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we talk.
Congrats.
We were talking all the time.
Another platinum plaque on the wall.
Yeah, we were talking all the time. We never have stopped communicating, you know, through some kind, either some people or whatever. I'll run into him and try to be like, hey man, come through, holler at me. Okay. You know, and that was his first music piece. So I was excited about doing that because it was his first music piece besides what he did 2000. You know what I mean? So,
I want to ask you about Exhibit because you brought him up. Yeah. I don't remember if it was you, Hutch, or if it was him, but I was at a video shoot and I think it was him. And he says, "Come over, I want to play you something in the car." Oh yeah. And it might have been you, it might have been him, but one of you guys played me Two Killers.
Yeah, the remix.
And man, Exhibit at the time, I had been playing a lot of him on the radio.
Absolutely.
He was on his bubble, like he was bubbling. You know what I mean? Right, yeah. And you caught him.
Executive decisions out.
You caught him, bro, and you caught him at that moment. When I first heard it, I said, "Oh, bro, you got to give me that."
That's right.
I played it on Monday.
It was Exhibit. It was Exhibit. He was like, "I got this record. Can I play it?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, play that shit." It's a remix.
So banger, bro.
It was a remix.
How did you link up with Exhibit?
Well, I've known Exhibit since he was like 13, 12 years old.
Oh, okay.
Like I met him when we were on tour.
Really?
I was on tour when he was young, and he met me backstage. We was at like an after set. He was like, "Man, what it take?" He was like, "What it take for me to get on?" I was like, "Be yourself." And he was like, "Man, it stuck with me." So when he moved to LA, he kind of found us. Oh. You know what I mean? It's like, "Man, remember me? I'm the dude in the hallway. I'm rapping now. I'm in LA." And then from there, we just start hanging out. And then, you know, he used to always be he'd come and hang out. Another time, he just came to the studio and he was hanging out with me.
Damn.
And I just came with the beat. And at first, we did the original track, you know, boom, 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 boom. Then I flipped it and then we came back in and did new new vocals on a remix. And when you heard, because it's one you used to play off the album.
Off the album, but the remix? Oh, you flipped that. That shit was crazy. I'm sorry. That shit was so gangster rock.
Yeah, that was like I said, that was just us hanging out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hutch, what are you working on today? What's going on with you now? I know you're working on some stuff.
Oh yeah, the big thing that I've been working on musically is like I have the last recordings of Above the Law, like me, KMG, and Kokane, and DJ Chaos. We did a record, did a bunch of records. Some of the stuff I put out here and there. I put out Pomona Love with my boy Spook, his label. That's a great record too. Thing. Yeah. And then I like how you put Drummer Boy on there. Yeah,
because it gave Pomona, that younger Pomona,
exactly,
because he represents Pomona
there you
so
go.
Heavy. You know what I mean?
So that was a good. So I always connect with them. You made it happen anyway.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then now I'm working.
But there's another record.
Yeah, it's another record. This is the last recordings. It's like another 11 records left.
Okay.
That I'm doing with. I'm thinking about doing an anthology with it, and it's called Above the Law Forever.
Okay.
So, and we doing a documentary with it and all of that,
That'd be great, man.
But I'm doing film now. I'm in film. I got my own film company, Musa TV, the Musa TV network. And I just finished my first television show, The Black Godfather, first season. And just growing as a filmmaker right now. And the great thing about that is I get to integrate the music into the film. So I still do music.
Does it feel like a natural transition because you're a writer into doing film stuff?
Does.
It's like the next level for you.
The creative level is like kind of when I first started rapping, but the transition part makes it new and fresh. But yeah, it's like it was like a speed bump in the parking lot.
Right.
The transition wasn't really that hard. It's just learning the stuff technically, like when you was talking about off camera, like just the technical part, just learning lighting and how the cameras work and how to edit and everything in post. That's about it. That was the only learning curve I had. But other than that, creative, I kind of, I wrote a script like I write a record, like that, basically.
Wow.
I lay a synopsis out like I lay out how I want to do my next record. So really not no different than that. You're just doing it in the film aspect.
Right. Hutch, you have one of the most distinctive voices in hip hop. Because no, it's true. It's like, and that's what makes certain people stand out, because you know it's that person automatically. It's not even a question. And that's what I think separates certain people. But you do have this very distinctive voice, and the way you married like you and KMG, because he had a sinister, he had more of a sinister voice. And another thing about KMG was that he was very, I want to say like quiet in his own way, so it made him very mysterious. So you kind of only knew him from what he was saying in the songs.
Absolutely.
Because he didn't talk a lot. Was that something that he was just, that was his personality? It was, huh? Because he was cool with me when I got to know him, but at first I thought he was very like quiet guy. Like,
you would think, and he's the coolest person I ever know in my life. You know what I mean? His brother, like he, and a big heart, he got a big heart, but he's always been quiet. He's always been, talk to Hutch, he's the talker. I'm the quiet guy.
Wow.
Now, when we're doing things, he's a voice, for us. He will voice, oh man, I think this, and then, now he wasn't like that. He put his input in, and everything. So he go hard in that aspect. But like far as he was always, I think he knew the pecking order, basically, and he played his part to the T, because I think without KMG, I wouldn't have the, I was like he was like the,
he gave it,
pop.
Yeah, you both had the EPMD feel to
you
it.
have to have that. I think you have to have the yin and the yang.
You do,
you got to have the Philip Bailey, Maurice White.
Yeah.
You got to have that. I think the high
Eric
guy,
Sermon,
the low guy.
Paris Smith,
Exactly. There you go. You got to have that. The yin and the yang.
Yeah. My last question to you, Hutch. One record that I love that you did is, and I was wondering why it was like this, but I think it's the B-side of California. You put Ashes to Ashes, Dust to Dust.
I remember you always tell me about that record. I wish I would have put it on the record.
That's my question, Hutch. How come that didn't end up on the record? Why is that a B-side that nobody can get?
People think it's like the overkill record. I actually, when I did California, they wanted a maxi single. And I said, I don't want to put all our records on one record. So I said, I'm going to do B-sides. I'm going to do Pimp Clinic. I did Pimp Clinic Anthem, and I did Ashes for the B-side because I didn't want to take the records off of
the record, the
off
album.
of Uncle Sam's Curse and be like, okay, I'm gonna give you one time, and then put Rainbow for Rainbow on there and be like, okay, what if I want them to be singles?
Right. So you wanted to give them a song and then give them a second song, but not something off the album that.
Right. So I went in and I created those records. I created those 2 records. They wasn't even over. I didn't have those records.
Wow. Ashes to Ashes.
I wish I would have done it then because that's a hell of a record. Oh, Ashes is crazy.
That is one of the hardest records, Hutch, that you've ever done,
it is.
Man. I'm sorry, man. And
funny, when I was on the road, I was out with Cube one time, and this cat was like, man, the B-side of California, where's that at? I got this maxi single, but what record is it on? I was like, it's not. You got the record. That's it.
Look it up, everybody. YouTube.
Ashes
Above the Law, Ashes to Ashes, Dust to Dust.
It's really dope.
As I start my journey. Oh my God, man. KMG comes so hard. Thank you so much, Hutch, for coming tonight, man. I really appreciate you coming. I'm such a big fan of Above the Law and everything that you do.
Thank
you know
you,
what I mean?
Where
could they find you, Hutch, if they're looking for you? Man?
Oh, you can find me Instagram, Code 187 Mansa Musa.
Okay.
On Instagram, and then just regular Code 187 on Facebook.
Okay, cool. There it is.
Black Godfather on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And on that, there's
there it is.
Places.
There it is.
And follow us everywhere. Above the Law, we still available.
That's right.
We still around.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see that Uncle Sam's Curse is up now because there was a long time I couldn't find that album on DSP. So it's good. It's good that it's up there because it's such a classic record, man. Well, thank you for coming, Hutch, man. You know what it is, everybody. Westside Radio. We only bring the classic stuff here, man. You know what it is. We'll hit you on the next one, y'all. Peace.
We brought the hood to the West Side. Westside Radio.